How long have you been living in London, Liz?
I've been living in the great village of London for 12 years now. So I'm not a Londoner. I feel a bit of a fraud today.
Well, at this point, surely you count as a local.
Really? No? I don't know that. I do like being northern, so I come from the Wirral, and I do love being northern as well.
And when did you come out, or how did the whole lesbian thing come about?
What happened for you?
Yeah.
Yes, because I should address this now, is that you do get a sense of, so you're with a woman, you went out with a woman. It's like because you couldn't get a man. Really?
You're not asked that. People ask you that.
Say that, and I think there's an added thing around disability. They're like, you're not going to get a partner, are you at all? So, but I was going out with guys until I fell in love with a woman. I met, I think, what's called a recruiter lesbian. A recruiter.
She recruited you.
She basically
for the
recruited
lesbianic
me.
cause.
Yeah, she did. She knew. The times have been tough. Do you know that there's only one lesbian bar really in London these days? They're closing. Gentrification, but also, yes, of course we like to nest. Of course. But that's all a bit. We also like to party.
What is lesbian life like in London in general?
It's hard to know what it's like anywhere else. What it's like here is it is for me, it's a very safe place to hold hands and be myself. So my partner Jo is a baby butch, so she looks very young. Coming up behind me is the pub where the magic didn't happen, but almost did.
With her.
Hello, Defectors World. Hello. Now, many things happened. So, I was working, doing a BBC podcast. Jo also worked for the BBC. We had a little gathering. We ended up at a bar. This woman who's very, very shy said nothing to me, okay? Comes up to me. We're closing down in that bar. We're going to go and move to Defectors World. She comes up to me. She whispers in my ear, "If you come, I'll make it worth your while."
Stop.
And I felt it there. Do you know, I can't actually reach there, but if I could, I'd be touching there. She can reach, that's all that matters.
Yes.
Right? So it's fine. Oh my God. I was like, bing, okay.
But this is before you kind of felt like, I could go there with a lady.
I was a fag hag. I was around loads of gay men. I'd been to prides. I'd been to more prides than most gay people, I think. I'd been to them around the world as well. I'd been to San Francisco so many times, and and so it was a world. It was not something that was like, no, it didn't feel like any big denial. I didn't feel like I was hiding any sense of me. I guess I'm bisexual actually, but I would say that I'm a lesbian because I'm with a woman now and civil partner to her. So anyway, we get to Defectors World. They all get there much earlier than me. I finally get there, right? The pub is closed.
Oh no.
They won't let me in. I'm outside. But they finally let me in. Nothing happens.
She's sitting there, but she won't come up to you.
That moment of bravado's gone. Right?
She lost it.
So she doesn't do anything, and I'm hot to trot now,
right?
To go, or whatever. Yeah, nothing. Anyway, television centre,
which we're pulling up to
the
now
iconic television centre that's now no doubt luxury apartments because we don't have enough of them in London. And somebody's leaving the team, and I decide to go to the leaving do, and Jo's there. And I was fully aware, we were both fully aware that the tension. Anyway, we're doing that sort of drunken, if you could sleep with anybody, involved with the production, who would it be? Jo, again, really shy, really quiet. Somebody remembers they've not asked Jo.
Oh.
Bring Jo in. Jo, what about you? And at that minute, I just know. She doesn't even say anything. She just sort of giggles. And then somebody says to me, the moment was stopped. She never said it, but I absolutely knew. And so that then gave me the confidence. So by the end of the night, I'd managed to get her phone number. We texted all night. The following week, we had our first date. And the first date lasted 3 days.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So, Pride in London.
Yeah.
Is it something that you get excited about? Is it something that you go to?
So the 1st of June was our 10 years anniversary of meeting. So we'd been together a month before Pride, and it was going to be our first Pride together. It was going to be my first Pride as a lesbian or with another woman, in a relationship with another woman. And I remember, so I started with my gay male friends who were coming down anyway, wheelchair users. We were marching, and I was going to be meeting her down Regent Street. And I remember the butterflies, and I remember the excitement. And it was so exciting to march and wheel and hold hands with someone.
And not be afraid.
And not be afraid, and be part of, there's always that little gang of people shouting at you, but that's always funny. On the whole, people along the route are having as much fun as you are. So Pride has sort of evolved. It's evolved from being a place where I went as an ally, I guess, and as somebody identified as queer in a way, to then coming out, my first as a sort of coming out person, and then now it's sort of a different experience, and it's sharing it with friends and sharing that day, and I think seeing London at its best, really.
What is the importance of Pride in today's day and age?
Oh, I think any opportunity for a party, but any opportunity to be political and to stand together and to unite. They're tough times, they always have been, really. So to come out in a mass act of collectivism and be together and show that strength, I think is so important. You just feel it. You feel it inside, I think. You know that you're part of something for that one day. I think we need that, because then the rest of the time we go off in our lives and we're on our own, and it can be tough. It actually can be really tough because of the little moments that people are just a bit scathing, or you see a representation on TV or somebody says something to you that I think more than ever it's important to kind of just go out there and go, yeah, I'm gay. And I don't need to conform with you. I don't need to be like you. I don't need the same things as you even. But if I want those things, then they should be available. And yeah, I just think that we need to be out there and support that every time.
Visibility, basically.
Visibility.
It's as simple as that. Visibility. But what I want to know is, as a person with a disability, is it easier, harder, or even more like accepting to be part of the LGBT community? Like, do we, as people who are marginalised, show more love towards someone who's different?
Oh, all sorts of answers to that.
Right.
You know, a lot of queer venues, a lot of LGBT plus venues are not accessible. So it can be very exclusionary in its environment, you know. But I also understand we're fighting for venues in central London to keep venues going these days, whoever they're for. But I think you're absolutely right that there is a natural in a way, you're already with marginalised and oppressed group, and disability is an oppression. Ultimately, it's about discrimination, and so there is a shared understanding that it's just another layer of that. So there's something about, you know, when you're disabled, maybe there's so few expectations on you, and the expectations are usually low, right? So people don't expect me to have sex anyway. If they do, this is just great, is that they always think that Joe's usually my daughter.
No.
Or my son. Seriously, we've had both happen.
Do you ever go, oh yes, darling, come on,
of
this
course.
way?
I mean, what isn't there to be played with? You know, particularly when you then snog them. In fact,
Yeah. Yes, legend. I love it. So good.
just like, so people might know me from playing Clarissa in Silent Witness. That's where I'm most visible, I guess, right? And last year, because I've been in the show for 5 years, and every other, so there's 4 kind of characters who are reoccurring, and all the other 3 had relationships, not very good ones. Right, everyone had always died that they went out with, but no one had ever given me a relationship. And yet when I went for the job, you know, it said that my character was married, so I've always played her as married. I've always pushed it. It never said whether she was married to a woman or a man. Now, we all know that if the BBC gave me a lesbian relationship, people's heads would explode, or they'd kill us off, because, you know, as much as the BBC brought me and Joe together, it's not very good at that kind of lesbian storyline. It's not at all. It's always like tragic. It's never a decent and a good and non-cynical relationship. So pushed and pushed. Anyway, finally get that they'll agree to give me a husband. Right. So what I did was then I worked with the writer, and I spoke to the writer, and I said, you know what? This is not a documentary. This is not this is an aspirational kind of slick TV drama. Let's just show people what could happen. Why can't a disabled woman go out with a disabled or a non-disabled person and them have good qualities about them? You know, what are we saying when we send them in a relationship with the lowest common denominator kind of thing. You know, I was really proud of them what we did because in creating this husband and wife team, because actually growing up I never saw that. I never saw someone in a relationship that was just a decent run-of-the-mill relationship. There's nothing dramatic about it. It just is, and you need to see that, and other people need to, so that they just go, oh yeah,
Okay.
of course, oh,
Normalised.
okay,
It's okay.
I mean, I would get people going, wow, you've done really well, as I say, punching above your weight. Joe would always go,
Amazing.
but that she feels like she's the one that's the lucky one. You know, that's love, I guess, but that's like, I know, what I love, I've got to tell you.
lovely?
So she's Joe and I'm Liz, so our name,
It's Jizz.
yeah! We are Jizz.
You are Jizz.
She's a carpenter, and we've got 3 cats. I mean, I've dived right in.
It's just
I've dived
literally.
in.